Oh, it's a pretty nice day here in central Arkansas, considering it's a winter day. Kind of frosty outside, near freezing, but in the greenhouse I don't even need a jacket. I'm actually unzipping my jacket right now. So here's the first vertical fawn, and you can see that there's some growth to the plants. Of course, if this was spring, they would be a lot bigger. But that winter freeze that we had got in single digits. I think it was a video or two ago. I thought did some damage, and I don't see any damage on any of the plants anywhere. So that basically tells me that very doable, very doable. And today, part of what I'm going to do is harvest some turnip greens again, a cabbage, and a lettuce head for supper. But first, just a quick excuse me, rundown of the greenhouse. Here's my first fawn platform, and you can see that there's been some good growth in this. Those are my two different types of peas, and some greens here. Those are turnip greens, and then we got some Alamo turnip greens without turnips, and these are turnips Hakurai turnip greens with turnips. Then we got the carrots, slow but coming on, some Bloomsdale long standing spinach, some beets, and some more Alamo greens down there, and they're coming along. Same thing with this. This is the second flat fawn platform, and it has some red ace beets and some more turnip greens, some Thai spinach, and even some Georgia collards down there. They're getting some leaves on them. And this particular fawn has half rice hulls and half compost, so we'll see. So far, even though it's cold, the plants look really healthy, and no damage, no yellowing, no issues whatsoever except for slow growth. These are my pill bug planters, and with the strawberries and some lettuce. And here you can see this is the size of one of the lettuce heads, and this will probably be the one I pull today. There's one in the middle. It's a little deformed looking because they're a little bit crowded there, but there's three there. The beets here come along, and they're pretty cool because even their roots are red. Isn't that neat? Strawberries coming along. I've still got the ones in the refrigerator, and they're over 2 months now in the refrigerator, and they still got green foliage on them in the refrigerator, so we'll see. Here's three more heads of I think that's Adriana lettuce. And then further on here we've got different types of brassicas growing in the pill bug planters on down. So let's see here, what have we got next spawn? These are buckets that contain my blackberries. That was the primary reason for using these 5-gallon buckets, but I also planted some spinach in there, and you can see the spinach is coming on slowly but still coming along. Here is the third grow in this particular little gutter, and you can see the air roots on this one right there compared to the feeder roots. Now some of that's algae because I haven't had this particular part covered, which I need to do. But anyway, alright, over here we've got spinach, turnips, beets. I can't remember the brand of beets, Detroit or Red Ace, I'm not sure. They seem to come up a little more consistently than the cousin next door. and which is also a beet. And then I'm also going to harvest these turnip greens in that big 18-gallon tote. Taking a look at my cabbages here, I've got one. This is a small head. It's pretty firm, and the one next to it's the one I'm going to harvest. Remember, or maybe you didn't follow, but I pulled some of the leaves off of this. Now that's a really hard cabbage right there. I'm going to pull that one, and it's you know, it's that size, and it's really hard, and we're going to have some cabbage. And I wanted to show you the rest of the cabbage here. Again, growing slow, and if I wanted to continuously harvest cabbage throughout the winter months, I now know that I have to start it a lot earlier and do successive planting. And this is a really big head of cabbage right here, and it's firming up nicely. I'd say it's about 7 to 8 inches across. So those are my cabbage, and here are my Oregon Sugar Pod 2s. They're not faring as well as the Sugar Snap peas, and I gave up, for at least for the time being, on propping these up onto the trellis, although some of them are on the trellis. Now the Oregon Sugar Pods, they don't climb as much as the Sugar Snaps do, and they're right there, and you can see how tall they are. They're, well, including the tote itself, which is slightly above the bottom of the greenhouse, I'd say they're probably 3.5 foot tall, probably about 30 to 36 inches in plant height. And I do not see a bloom anywhere on them yet. So they're growing slower, and maybe when the weather gets a little bit warmer, we'll start seeing some blooms on those. My carrots are getting pretty tall, and I would say probably 12 inches of green, and they're packed in there pretty densely right now. I have eaten the tops on these, and definitely a carrot taste, and I know it'd be a great substitute for parsley or some added into some soups to give it a carrot taste. Now right now, probably because winter, maybe it's just a variety tender sweet, but they don't have a bitter, kind of really bitter taste that carrot tops are known to have. At least those don't, for whatever reason. Here's my harvest for today. I wanted you guys to get a look at it, and here's my hand for reference. Here is it's either Butter Crunch or Adriana. I think it may be Adriana. That's a pretty good size head, at least for tonight. Here's my turnips, and I thought these were the Alamos, but they're actually the Hukurai, if I pronounced it correctly, Japanese turnips, and they make these little turnips on the ends. They're a little immature, but they were overgrowing, and I'm going to cook them all up as is. And here is my cabbage, and it's the first cabbage I've grown this winter, and it's really a tight head. It should be nice and tasty. Now what I'm going to do is weigh them up. Got my scale, it's zeroed out. I'm going to start with the lettuce here. I gotta bag this bad boy up while you're holding the camera with one hand, so it's a little difficult. Alright. I can't imagine it being much. It's pretty light. Alright. 0.44. Almost half a pound. Didn't feel that heavy. Alright. Now we've got turnip greens. One 18-gallon tote. Let me zero this back out. Again, doing everything with one hand. Sorry for that. Alright, turnips. 2.47 pounds of turnipy goodness. Alright, and last but not least, cabbage. Felt like the turnips were heavier than this cabbage. And they were. This cabbage is only 1.59, 1.6 pounds. I was surprised. I expected it to be heavier than that. So that's my weight on the vegetables harvested today. Here's what my two gauges say. That one says 72.5. And this one, which is a little bit higher, says close to 90. I don't think it's 90. I think it's somewhere between 72 and 90 because I'm sweating while I'm doing this harvest. So warm today despite being near freezing outside. Alright, here's the salad made up from the garden. It's got my lettuce, some Adrian lettuce in it. It's got some Hakurei turnips in it. And yes, my hands are washed. And it's got some, unfortunately, from the store, Roma tomatoes and a cucumber because it is just too cold to grow those right now.